just before I go to Stephen, let me bring in some reinforcements, all the way from Pamplona, in Spain. Paul, who has a point
Hi,
of
George.
view. Go on, Paul.
Students,
Yeah.
they should pay for every penny they do.
Why is
Right.
that?
Well, I have as a lorry driver. I came out of school with no education, no qualifications
You and
at all.
me both, son. But that's not the point, is it?
Right? So I have paid for everything I've ever done in my life in advance. Now,
No, but that can't be true, Paul. Have you never used the National Health Service?
yes, but I've paid my tax and everything since. I've worked since I was 16. I joined the army when I was 16.
Isn't that the point, Paul? You paid your tax?
Yeah.
The parents of these students paid their tax, and the students, when they work, will pay their tax. That's the way we do things in this country historically.
Well, historically for lorry drivers, George, come on.
Well, Paul, God
for
forbid.
a lot of other people as well, George.
Paul, God forbid, and I very much hope I'm not tempting fate, you were to take ill this evening. Not only would you be treated free in Britain, but you'd be treated free in Spain. That's because we have a system whereby people pay into a pot and take out of that pot that which they require. That's the civilized way.
I agree with that, with what you're saying, George. That system would work in theory, but it doesn't work in practice. Now, if there's a lot of students doing qualifications that, at the end of the day, they don't actually have a job.
Well,
agreed?
Well, if that's true, it's hardly their fault, is it? If the system that educated them is incapable of giving them a job. Now, what you're doing is shifting this argument onto the rather infantile ground that a previous caller did, that somehow students are doing courses that are not important. The vast majority of students in this country are studying precisely the kind of vitally important, nationally vitally important things that anyone here would recognise. They're studying English, they're studying history, they're studying geography, they're studying science, they're studying art, they're studying literature, all the things that make a society, distinguish a society from the jungle, from a cave society. Right,
okay. I agree with you there. But I do agree that they must pay. And on the
but why, system, Paul? Why?
As far as I can hear on all radio stations, including Talk Sport, is the fact they won't have to pay until they're earning a certain amount of money.
But
I had to pay for my qualification, and a lot of other people doing a lot of other jobs, including plumbers, carpenters, bricklayers. They have to pay first.
Well, but why don't we make school children pay then? Why don't we make NHS patients pay?
Well, children
why don't we
pay
make pensioners
by
pay?
their parents.
But that's exactly my point, Paul, which I'm not getting through to you. Their parents are paying tax, and if these students get jobs with good money at the end of their courses, they will pay higher tax and should pay higher tax. That's how we
do. What you earn, George,
well, exactly. And their parents paid their tax, as did their parents and their parents. None of the current cabinet paid tuition fees. Why should they kick away the ladder that they climbed up so that other people's children and grandchildren can't get up them?
Well, they're privileged, and you will never, ever, in a month of Sundays, change that system.
Paul, I want you to, because you sound to me like a sensible guy at heart, I want you to reflect on what I've said to you tonight, and maybe come back to me on this.